umbilical hernia repair, and on my mission on my road back to a first-class Marine Corps PFT. So I'm 4 weeks post-op, set my baselines, and I got this mission. But I'm going to share my exact comeback plan, the training, pain rules, and recovery so you can model it. So I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist, run coach, and Marine vet. For 10 years, I've helped everyday athletes and veterans rehab injuries and get back in shape. So I'm going to share with you guys my post-surgery comeback, some practical, safe ways and disciplined ways so you can steal the structure for your own return. I'm going to cover the weekly training structure, pain traffic light rules, and recovery and tracking. And then I'll invite you to my free Skool community and my 28-day Operation Pain Free Challenge. So to give you a bit of context or baseline, about a month ago, back in early August, I had hernia repair surgery, and my surgeon told me, hey, no lifting more than 10 pounds for a month, right? Just to protect the healing area. And I'm a little bit past the 4-week mark now. So just this past weekend, I went for a run and lifting. So I got to baseline my fitness. So I did a 3-mile run. I did it about under 25 minutes. Sure, but I did it at 24 minutes, 49 seconds. 3 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and about a 30-second plank. I was like, for a lot of people, they're like, whoa, for a civilian, if it's someone who doesn't train a lot, they're like, oh, that's pretty decent numbers. But for me, I'm like, oh man, I am definitely out of shape. I need to up my game because I used to be able to do a lot faster. I used to be able to run 21 or like a 19-minute 3-mile run. So definitely slowed down a bunch there. And these are my rebuild numbers, right? So I don't want you to think, hey, this is my peak fitness. Again, I'm just coming right back from surgery. But I do understand that I have to improve. So what I'm going to do, my programming, my weekly structure, I got the baseline. And if you guys are following along and maybe you're brand new to fitness or you're a veteran, you want to come back to regaining your fitness, get a set of baseline, right? If you served in the Army or the Navy or the Marines, I like using your military unit, or if you don't want to do that, just pick some baseline test. For me, I'm a former Marine, so I love the Marine Corps fitness test. I was like, hey, let me see how I compare back to the Marine Corps physical fitness test. But anyhow, you set your baseline, right? You go for the run, do the events, the timed events, whether it's push-ups, pull-ups, planks, etc., and just record your baseline scores. Anyhow, I'm going to share with you now the programming. So how do I plan to improve that? So the weekly training structure, right? It's going to be simple and sustainable. So the goal is steady stress without aggravating the healing repair, right? Because it may take another 3 months or 6 months to continue to heal in the background. Sure, I'm not feeling much pain at the moment, but I still want to be smart about it and not jump to like trying to, run a marathon right off the bat or squat 315 pounds on my back with this healing hernia. So the programming. So for running, I'm going to aim to run about 3 days per week. The structure of that's going to be like one long run, a tempo run, and a speed or track workout. And start where you are right now, where you were. So the progression is going to be with the duration, and then try to increase the intensity. And then as my schedule pull, I might even add another 1 or 2 days, maybe up to 4 or 5 days, depending how I feel and my training schedule or my work schedule. Well, I also have a very demanding work schedule since you have almost like 2 full-time jobs. But I'm going to also keep notes. So for the pain, I'm going to monitor what's called a pain traffic light guide. So a green light is like 3 out of 10 pain or less. That happens during the activity or after, and it goes away fairly quickly. A yellow light is about a 4 to 6 out of 10 pain. The pain stays there, but maybe it lingers for about 30 minutes or so, but then it goes away. And then a red light's like 7 out of 10 pain. You feel the pain maybe during the activity or after, but then it stays there for another day or two. Like, whoa, you really push. Like now you actually need bed rest. You need like 3 days of bed rest for it to recover. In some cases, maybe even a whole week. And I may have to go back to the doctor. We don't want to get in the red zone, the red light area, because it means you pushed it did way too much. So one is ideally saying the green light, maybe creep into the yellow light zone, but ideally it'd be like no pain or minimal pain or discomfort. So when I did my first 3-mile run this past weekend, it felt humbling. I thought I was cruising. I tried to do a negative split, the first half a little slower, the second half faster, but it was humbling. I wanted to hit 6 minute per mile pace at an 18-minute 3-mile run, but I had to understand this is accept where my body is at now. All right, so I kept this move, gave it my best effort for where I'm at. And then sure, I was slightly tight in my hamstrings, a little stiff there, but it went away within the next day. And the abdominal region was a little sore. My abs were a bit sore, but that was okay. So again, my goal is to eventually get to an 18-minute per mile or 18-minute 3-mile run or 6-minute per mile pace. And, it may take me 3 months, 4 months, but we're going to start rebuilding up there, and having a plan and a direction is very important. Now for strength training, right? So, when I did the strength test, I was like kind of embarrassed at myself. I only did like 3 pull-ups and like, what is it, 5 or 10 push-ups or so. I said like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do as many reps as I can in 2 minutes. I barely lasted like 20 seconds or so. I was like, wow. So, and also my plank too, my core strength as well. So I was going to work on my core, got to work on my push-ups, my pull-ups, and also my lower body, because the whole chain's interconnected. So I'm a big fan of doing full body routines. And yes, some people like to split, like some people like to do an upper body day, a lower body day, a core day. But in general, I like to do a full body routine, because regardless whether surgery or not, you should be training the major muscle groups at least 2 times per week, right? So if you only do lower body once a week, you've only trained the muscle group once a week, right? So when I like full body, I could now train all the major muscle groups at least twice a week, or sometimes even 3 times a week. So I'm gonna start with bands, dumbbells. I train from home. I'm a home workout type of person, so I got weights at home, heavy resistance bands, light resistance bands. And actually work out with this thing called the X3 bar. So it's like a bar and band, so I can attach it, and then it almost mimics like a gym setup. So I'm a big fan of that. And then also calisthenics. So I'll have like 2 days where I'll do some lifting, like lifting weights or lifting the bands, doing patterns like the hinge, squat, push, pull, carry, and also do 1 day full body calisthenics. I'm also a big believer you have to be able to kind of master your own body weight as well. So yes, you can combine it, but I like to do a separate lifting day and separate calisthenics day. So this, for me, it's actually going to be 3 strength days, but 2 days will be lifting, 1 day will be calisthenics, and then try to progress every week or every 2 weeks, like 5% more or 10% more, depending on the lift. Maybe it's the squat or the push-up or whatever. Try to either do more reps or try to add a little heavier on the weight, on the bar. And then obviously track it. You want to track and see the progress. I'll be documenting this on a Google spreadsheet, and then using like a Google Calendar as well, just to block off my workouts and make sure they get done. And obviously also monitoring for pain, the pain traffic light guide that I described back in the run section as well. And then breathing and bracing, making sure to breathe properly with the movements. Try to avoid Valsalva early on in this next month or so, because I, again, don't want to put too much strain on my abdominal region. So I'm going to breathe out with the reps and try to do a controlled repetitions, like 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down. Sure, I might vary. Sometimes I'll do a fast concentric and a slow eccentric. And, I'll try to hit to fatigue depending where I'm feeling, right? Trying to build tissue tolerance. And sometimes I'll train to just 2 or 3 reps in reserve. So on my first lift day, I want to test the core. So I, did very light banded rows, light squats, a light overhead presses with a light band. I still felt I had a couple reps in reserve, but I still felt like a good workout. And then for calisthenics, right, it'll be, again, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, planks, calf raises, side planks, different calisthenic movements to also help build my kind of more calisthenic specific strength, because there's a thing called the law of specificity, right? So if I want to get better at pull-ups, I'm to train pull-ups. If I want to get better at running, I have to train running, right? So all these things have specificity. You can't just lift alone and then do any running and expect to be better at running. Yes, lifting helps running, but you still got to run. And same thing with pull-ups. You can't just do bench presses alone or lat pull downs in the gym and hope. Yes, strength lifting weights can help with pull-ups, but you still got to train pull-ups and so forth. So, there's some specificity that you have to train the things you want to get better at. Right? It sounds like common sense, but sometimes people forget this. So for the calisthenics, I'm a big fan of greasing the groove, right? Frequent low fatigue practice, maybe, have the pull-up bar in my apartment. So every now and then, hey, I'll just stop, do 1 or 2 reps of pull-ups. And then over time, at the end of the day, it adds up a lot, right? And then micro progressions, maybe holding bottom of the positions, like a deep squat for a 5-second hold or 10-second hold, to also help build up mobility, right? So, when I did my baseline test, I was just 3 pull-ups. I was like, damn, that's how far away that I used to. But hey, the wind is just showing up. And understanding, hey, I can build back up. So again, my goal for the pull-ups is now going to try to be that first-class PFT. I'm going to try to aim for like 20 pull-ups or so. And then also see if I can do a ruck day. Sure, the ruck is not tested in the formal Marine PFT, but I'm a former infantry Marine. I know the importance of being able to carry a load on your back, a pack. So I'm going to start with a light load and then try to build up, and then also try to build up my distance and the load on the back. Maybe try to start to build up from like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and 30 pounds or 35-pound ruck. And focus on posture and cadence and quiet feet, right? So try to keep the ruck in like an aerobic range, and then only add weight as I start getting progression and the pain's not progressing at all. And obviously monitoring my abdominal region. So just to recap for you guys who are kind of new about the pain traffic light guide, again, the green light is 0 to 3 pain, right? That settles fairly quickly, like within the first 10, few minutes after a workout or something. A yellow light is pain that maybe lingers for like 30 minutes to an hour or so, but then it goes away. And it's all pain like from like a 4 to 6 out of 10 pain scale. And then a red light, it's like 7 out of 10 or more. So this is severe pain that kind of worsens after the workout. And then it lasts for like 2-3 days or so. And it's not getting better. Then in this case, consult with a healthcare provider, your doctor, your surgeon, etc. All right. And quickly, disclaimer, right? This is educational, right? This is not medical advice. So always follow your surgeon's guidance or guidelines, or if you're working with a physical therapist, their guidelines for your care plan. So recovering tracking, also making sure to try to sleep at least 7 hours a night, consistent bed and wake time. I like to do a breath workout, a breath work in the morning and at night. So I'm a big fan of doing some breath work, either diaphragmatic breathing or alternate nostril breathing. It just helps calm the body and also helps kind of just allows me to want to get into bed or just kind of help regulate my body first thing in the morning when I start doing like my morning workouts and stuff. Nutrition, I'm trying to prioritize whole foods first, but also I have a busy schedule, right? Again, I'm working almost 2 full-time jobs. So I'll have like protein shakes to help, like for morning, I typically have like a protein smoothie or shake. And then I'll hydrate and add a pinch of sea salts or Redmond sea salts, especially if I notice I'm getting more dehydrated or sweating easily. And then doing my mobility, I try to do mobility daily, 10 or 15 minutes, cat camel, different back stretches, hip flexor stretches. Big fan of yoga for that. But again, if you're doing this on, it doesn't have to be yoga. It could just be whatever stretches for your tight areas. And then tracking and scheduling, a big fan of Google Sheets or Google Calendar to also help block off on my schedule of the calendar of the training days and what blocks I'm trying to hit that week. And then every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, okay, I'm going to reassess, okay, how's my training went? I'll be reassessing daily as well, but also at the end of the month, I'll do like a monthly assessment and then planning for the next month. So again, I work like 60 plus hours a week. So, I try to be as consistent with myself with the training as possible, but also understanding, hey, when I may have to move days around, be realistic as well. So my next milestone is to see if I could add another 2 reps or so to my pull-ups, try to improve my plank hold, maybe try to shave down another 10 or 20 seconds in my 3-mile run in the next month or so, and then reassess, right? And just be realistic again where I'm at. So if you find any of this useful or you're just looking for guidance on how to run pain-free or just more tips on how to be pain-free, check out my free Skool community. I'm put the link in the description. And I'm also running a 28-day Operation Pain-Free challenge for folks who kind of want more one-to-one help on how to get pain-free, whether they had a nagging back injury, nagging knee injury. I am prioritizing veterans, but I also work with everyday athletes as well. So if you're interested in that, join my free Skool community and just send me a DM once you're in OPF that you're interested in that Operation Pain-Free. Okay. Anyways, I'm out. Have a great day.